Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. And today's topic is going to cover tools and things that I found to make the recovery process of my recent surgeries smoother. Um, when you go into the pre-op and you talk to the doctor, one of the things I always like to ask, whether it's a procedure or a surgery, is there anything that's going to help me recover, get better quicker, right? And easy, because we don't want to be suffering while we're healing. That's no bueno. So along those lines, the doctors usually share a few things from their point of view, and then you do a little research of your own. And then hopefully by the time you're coming home from the procedure or surgery, you've got a pretty good idea of what you need to heal. And then you learn along the way. And in that frame of mind, that's where my disclaimer of every video, that I'm not trying to treat, diagnose, cure, tell you what to do. I'm just trying to share something. It's like having a conversation that I would have if a friend said, "Hey, I'm going to get a panniculectomy and I'm going to get a brachioplasty done. Like, what would you share with me? What were positives and negatives, pros and cons of those?" So that's where this dialogue kind of comes from. And so I just want to kind of preface everything with that. Um, Last year, I had a traditional panniculectomy, and because of that, I had already purchased a raised toilet seat system, because at the time the doctor had told me, because my abdominal muscles would be healing and that area, you just don't really want to have to use those muscles if you don't have to. Um, that would alleviate some of the pain. And so that's something that I already had in storage. And so when it came to, a couple weeks ago, getting the vertebral planectomy, I already had something that I knew that would be really helpful. And along those same lines, when you get discharged, they send you home with an abdominal binder, but you're going to want to wash it at some point. And in my experience, I found that it takes a really long time to dry, probably because of the material that it's made out of, is my best guess. But I went ahead and ordered an additional abdominal binder to have on hand. So that way, when I put the other one in the delicate wash, I had something to support and just feel extra secure. Because again, the idea that I'm under is the compression helps kind of get the swelling and reduce the inflammation along the same lines that like an ace bandage would. But this was really helpful. So if you're having that procedure done, that might be something that you find helpful during your recovery. For the brachioplasty, when I went to the pre-op, the doctor covered the fact that I really wouldn't be able to raise my hands like above this. And so that's where she told me washing my hair, putting on a shirt, putting on a bra, those were going to be really struggle areas. So her best suggestion was to try to get help with washing my hair. And, you know, she mentioned about possibly finding clothes that were easy. And that's where the idea came to hit the resale shop before surgery. And I picked up a bunch of button down men's tops, and lifesaver. I was able to put on my tops without really much struggle at all. I did find out there's something called like a dressing stick or a dressing rod, and it looked like something that had like a little hook on the end of it. And I do have to say, by reading the reviews, that really would have been helpful the first 2 weeks. I did have help. My parents helped me. But if I had lived completely by myself, then I really don't think I would have been able to swing my arm into any type of top or thing, because the first 2 weeks for me, instead of this ace bandage material, it was like a coax material, and so it had no move and give. So I was stuck in a position like this. And so that's where it came to when I mentioned in the other video about like elevating my arms, like that's all I was able to do. Um, and so once I got the ACE bandages, I had a little bit more freedom. But that dressing stick would definitely be something to help you if you live by yourself and going through the recovery process, I think. But the button down tops, game changer, very helpful. As you can tell, also stylish. Um, but those were the things that the doctor told me ahead of time. I watched a couple videos and I found out there was something called a long handle toilet wand. That was extremely helpful, as you could imagine. And those were kind of all the things I had prepped ahead of time in anticipating coming home, and I want to have things on standby. I did know that I was going to have to wait 3 weeks to shower after the surgery, and in that case what I did is I went ahead and I ordered a bunch of those like bathing washcloths, those thick material, um, that just made things feel great again. And when it comes to washing my hair, I contacted a local salon and told them my situation. And they told me that Tuesday through Saturday, if I wanted to get my hair washed, I just give them a call. And for $5, they would wash my hair. And it was close enough. So that way my parents could take me, or any family and friends that were taking me to another doctor's appointment. It wasn't too far from my house. So it worked out really well. So at least I could feel as clean as one could feel, which anybody who has gone through a recovery from surgery or a procedure know that it's really hard to feel good or feel like yourself when your hair is just like dripping in grease. So that was great. So that was really beneficial. And then while I was in the hospital, I did get one visit from occupational therapy. And during that visit, the lady told me, I know I mentioned about a pool wand in the last video, but this is what she gave me, two of them. And it was awesome because I was able to put silverware, I was able to put my toothbrush, and it gave me that extra that I needed, because again, the first 2 weeks, I personally was locked in kind of this position. And so I couldn't make it to my mouth, obviously, with my hand. Um, so this really made me feel independent. So anyway, so she gave me two of those. So that was awesome. And then she kind of wrote down a list about things that could be beneficial when I'm home. She mentioned the gripper, which I had from another surgery. So this really came in handy. Just giving me a feeling of like having movement of my arms, because again, the way that they wrapped my arms, I was really restricted. And then when I was finally able to shower, something that made me feel very independent and clean, was a long-handed bath brush. So those are kind of the tools that helped me so far with my recovery. Just like with the binder, when they switched me to the ACE bandages, I wasn't sure how long I was going to be in those. And so I ended up purchasing some extra ones. Um, my advice to somebody who would be having this surgery is to just go ahead and pick up like a dozen of the 4 inch, or heck, even maybe like the 24 pack, because I just kind of bought them a few at the time, because I didn't realize that after you use it a few times, the stretch completely runs out of it. And so it's, even though you can wash it, it's pretty much useless to use. So that would be something I would say, because usually it's cheaper if you can buy it in bulk. So those would be overall my tips of things that helped me with my recovery process. Um, not being able to use both your arms at the same time, I just had to really accept the fact that I was just going to be sitting there or lying there and not really doing too much. I'm still 7 weeks out and I'm under the 5 pound restriction, and I'm not supposed to like push or pull doors, just because again, like kind of the incisions go like all the way down here. So any motion really, kind of moving around, I mean, you feel it. And so I can imagine a lot of doors. So luckily a lot of places have the handicap access doors. So those have been extremely helpful getting in and out of places on my own. But I do see the doctor next week, and I am hoping that I get a few restrictions lifted so I get a little bit more freedom. the pain at this point is really minimal. If I do need a little bit, of something personally, it's just like a Tylenol. So that's really great from what I was on originally 7 weeks ago. And then also, I think a lot of the uncomfortableness I'm feeling is just because like I'm starting to be able to move it a little bit more. And, when you start to feel better and you don't feel as groggy and fatigued, you're kind of like, okay, well, I'm ready to like go outside and like, let me go over here and let me go walk over here, and you kind of got to remind yourself like, you're still healing, you're still in the recovery process. Like, it's, not that much longer. You can get through it. So, just things that I would, again, share with somebody that asked me what could be helpful in this situation. So I'm looking forward to getting some restrictions lifted. And if you've gone through a surgery and you have some helpful ideas that you want to share with other people, definitely drop them in the comments below or send me a message, and I will definitely share it the next video, because that's all what this platform is about. And I'm excited with the videos that I'm doing and you guys watching them. So thanks so much for checking it out, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.